North Korea is one of the most mysterious countries in the world, with stringent rules and a tightly controlled lifestyle governed by the authoritarian regime of Kim Jong Un. Therefore, photos taken in this country are extremely rare. Almost everyone who visits North Korea is prohibited from taking photos, and those who do risk immediate imprisonment. From simple photos of people pretending to use computers, to the 10 government-approved hairstyles, or beggars seen all over the streets, these images all depict the difficult life in this place. Join us on a journey to explore 22 rare forbidden photos smuggled out of this country. Number 22. 3 generations of punishment. The concept of 3 generations of punishment paints a horrifying picture of brutal collective punishment in North Korean society. It is this regime's cruel version of passing down consequences like a dark hereditary curse to future generations. Imagine committing a crime in North Korea. The punishment doesn't just fall on you, but also on your descendants. They will bear the heavy consequences of your sins, as if they carry tainted blood. This bizarre law was enacted in 1950 with the purpose of purging the bloodline of those deemed counter-revolutionary after the war. It not only punishes the individual who committed the crime, but also their family. Families become hostages, responsible for and suffering the consequences of one member's wrongdoing. This form of collective punishment has a dark history, used as a tool of oppression, torture, and fear-mongering in authoritarian regimes. North Korea is not alone in employing this cruel tradition. Nazi Germany, China, Japan, and South Korea have also used similar forms of punishment in the past. However, South Korea abandoned this system in the 1990s. North Korea, on the other hand, continues to uphold the backstage rule of the Workers' Party, where 3 generations of a political criminal's family can be imprisoned, or even worse. The troubling aspect is that this punishment is not clearly stipulated in any official legal document. It exists as an unspoken rule, a tool to consolidate power and suppress dissent. North Korea, with its 3 generations of punishment system, is spreading terror among its people and blatantly violating basic human rights. The world must strongly condemn this cruel practice and unite in the fight for freedom, justice, and human rights in this country. Number 21. Pleasure Squad. The Pleasure Squad might sound strange, but it is a real phenomenon in North Korea. Kim Jong Un's Pleasure Squad consists of young, attractive women who provide entertainment and sexual services. Imagine these young women in the picture wearing unique uniforms that reveal more skin than is typically seen. Eager soldiers line up, hoping to be chosen based on their beauty, talent, and connections. There are rumors that they undergo a mysterious training program, honing their performing arts skills to entertain higher-ups, including the elusive Supreme Leader, but there is more to it. The secrecy surrounding this clandestine group is said to involve disturbing practices like virginity tests. What are your thoughts on this squad? Please share your feelings below. Number 20. Pretending to use a computer. This photo taken in North Korea shows women eagerly using computers in a fully equipped room. At first glance, this image might seem normal, even indicative of the country's scientific development. However, according to Laforgue, when he was taking the photo, the tour guide asked the children to press the delete button in pretense, even though the computer was actually turned off. This act was meant to create an impression of modernity and widespread technology use in North Korea. In reality, North Korean citizens face strict control over information access. The internet is available only to a privileged few, mainly government officials and scientists. Most people can only access information through state-controlled media, which frequently propagandizes in favor of the government and conceals the country's negative aspects. Despite the dangers, Laforgue bravely shared these photos with the world, exposing the dark truth behind North Korea's glossy propaganda. He hopes these images will raise awareness about the state of information control and the violation of free speech in the country. The image of the woman pretending to use a turned-off computer is a powerful reminder of the manipulation of information and the stringent control exercised by the North Korean government. It highlights the stark contrast between the portrayed image and the reality faced by the people there every day. Number 19. Child labor is common. Child labor is a serious and persistent problem in North Korea. According to estimates by the international NGO Save the Children, about 40% of children in North Korea are involved in labor activities violating the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, which the country has signed. There are several causes for the widespread child labor in North Korea. One of the main reasons is poverty. North Korea's economy has been stagnant for decades, forcing many families to rely on the income generated by their children to cover living expenses. In addition, North Korea's education system also contributes to the promotion of child labor. Compulsory education ends early, and students are frequently encouraged to work to support their families and the state. State media particularly praise these children and declare that they have chosen a life of hard work for the collective good. From the photos, the children appear to be teenagers. Number 18. Only 15 hairstyles allowed. In the realm of beauty, the state has strict regulations. One of these is the rule that North Korean men and women can only choose from 15 specific hairstyles approved by the state. In August 2017, several major newspapers surprised the public by revealing images of the 15 hairstyles permitted for men and women in North Korea. Not only are the number of hairstyles limited, but North Korean men must also adhere to a series of haircut rules issued by the government. For young men, hair should not be longer than 5 centimeters, and they must cut their hair every 2 weeks. Pyongyang claims that long hair consumes nutrients from the brain, so it is best to keep it short. Older men are allowed to have slightly longer hair, but it should not exceed 7 centimeters. Furthermore, North Korean men seem to be prohibited from adopting the hairstyle of leader Kim Jong Un, which features shaved sides and longer hair on top, as this style is not included in the list. The regulations on hairstyles and clothing are strictly enforced. Illustrations of the 15 hairstyles for men and women are publicly displayed in hair salons across the country. What do you think about this regulation? Share your thoughts below. Number 17. Bowing respectfully. Under the towering bronze statues of North Korea's revered leaders, citizens bow respectfully. This is something all citizens must do. North Korea is often compared to a modern-day Nazi Germany, hiding harsh realities beneath a glossy facade of meticulously staged mass dances and synchronized swimming performances. The people here know only obedience, reflected in the silent streets and illicit glimpses into the everyday lives of ordinary people in the suburbs of Pyongyang. Efforts to film elderly women resting by bundles of hay are met with sharp rebukes, questioning the purpose of taking photos. In the city's bookstore, where shelves groan under the weight of hagiographic works, an inadvertent act of folding a page of the Pyongyang newspaper leads to a stern reprimand, as the image of the leader must remain intact and cannot be disrespected in any way. Overall, the fervent reverence for the leaders, the stringent control by the government, and the faint glimmers of hope for freedom that seep through the cracks of this control paint a stark picture. Number 16. Travel restrictions. Did you know that North Korean citizens are not allowed to leave the country? This is not just a regulation, but a strict law rigorously enforced by the government. Imagine being trapped in a giant snow globe where the only exit is blocked, and the key is held by the government. Illegally crossing the border in North Korea leads to catastrophic consequences: torture, forced labor, and even a life in political prison camps. Only a lucky few are allowed to travel abroad, usually students and athletes under the Athletic Talent Search ATS Elite program. However, their journey is far from easy. They are closely monitored, and upon return, they face not just interrogation but careful ideological study sessions to ensure their spirits haven't been misguided by the outside world. Even during international competitions, North Korean athletes face numerous strict warnings. For example, Jong-yeol Kim, who participated in the International Mathematical Olympiad, was a typical case. Before leaving North Korea, he was carefully warned about capitalism and told to avoid any contact with South Korean students. The isolation of North Korea is further highlighted by the strict control over meeting foreigners within the country. There is always someone watching to ensure every word and action stays within the lines set by the government. Living in such a controlled and isolated society, North Koreans face countless difficulties and restrictions. The door to freedom seems firmly shut, and the dream of a different life glimmers faintly like fragile rays of light in the dark night. Number 15. No internet access. For the 25 million people in North Korea, the internet is not a choice but a luxury, reserved for a privileged few. Imagine the internet as a VIP party where only a few thousand are invited. You might think you're living well with internet access, but in North Korea, everything is different. When accessing the internet, you are closely monitored by a strict control system. The librarian controls your access every 5 minutes. The screen will freeze and you have to wait for the green light with fingerprint verification. And that's not all. A state security officer will always accompany you throughout your 1-hour internet session. To participate in this process, you need a special permit, and obtaining this permit can take up to 2 exhausting days of bureaucratic procedures. But wait, there are even more restrictions. You can only access government-approved websites, mainly in Chinese or English. For most North Koreans, the internet is even more out of reach. They can only access Kwangmyong, North Korea's intranet, with limited content and slow speeds. While a few dozen families connected to Kim Jong Un and some foreigners enjoy unlimited internet access, the rest of the North Korean population longs for real internet. Next time you feel frustrated by slow internet speeds, take a moment to be grateful that you don't have to wait 2 days for librarian approval or endure security surveillance while online. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts below. Number 14. Beggars on the streets. Beyond the thick veil of secrecy enveloping North Korea lies a harsh reality. Poverty is tightening its grip. The people here struggle to make a living in a society full of challenges, where the ideology of self-reliance and self-sufficiency leads to a relentless fight for survival. The misallocation of resources means national resources are funneled into nuclear weapons development and the military, while the silent heroes of the economy, the farmers, bear the burden of fighting hunger. They pour all their efforts into intensive farming, sacrificing forests to expand cultivation areas, but the environmental consequences are disastrous soil erosion, floods, and a dwindling food supply. Food shortages are exacerbated by a stark income gap. The wounds of the past reliance on foreign aid continue to fester. Aid from the Soviet Union during the Cold War and China afterward was cut off, leaving North Korea stuck in poverty, isolation, and dependency. As a result, beggars and homeless people on the streets are becoming more common. They have to live on the streets, exposed to harsh weather and the risk of violence, exploitation, and abuse. Difficulty accessing education and healthcare makes it hard for them to escape the cycle of poverty and homelessness. Number 13. The world's worst airline. Air Koryo currently ranks at the bottom of the world's airlines. It is the only airline to receive a 1-star rating from Skytrax. This ranking indicates that Air Koryo remains a low-quality airline, not meeting the average standards of global aviation. Air Koryo has about 39 passenger aircraft, including fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters. Most of the airline's planes are old, with low transport capacity and short range. However, the airline does have 2 modern Tu-204 aircraft made in Russia for international routes. In 2006, the European Union banned Air Koryo planes from its airspace due to the age of the aircraft. However, since March 2010, the EU has partially lifted the ban, allowing North Korea's Tu-204s to fly over its territory. If passengers on Air Koryo do not comply with the no photography rule, flight attendants can confiscate cameras and delete any taken photos. Crumpling a newspaper with an image of North Korean leader Kim Jong Un results in a stern lecture or worse. Would you want to try flying with this airline? Share your thoughts below. Number 12. Mandatory voting. In most countries, voting is a right, but in North Korea, it is mandatory. Failure to vote results in severe penalties. Elections in North Korea are held every 5 years, with family members consistently winning with the highest number of votes. Consequently, the official voter turnout rate in North Korea is often reported to be nearly 100%. However, the accuracy of this figure is highly disputed. The North Korean electoral system faces significant criticism from the international community for its lack of competitiveness and transparency. Nevertheless, the North Korean government maintains that its election system is democratic and suited to the country's reality. What do you think about this system? Share your thoughts below. Number 11. High malnutrition rates among children. In North Korea, malnutrition is a persistent issue, severely affecting the health and development of children. According to UNICEF, approximately 28% of children under 5 in North Korea are stunted, a rate twice the global average. Malnutrition in children leads to serious consequences, impacting their physical and mental health. Malnourished children are more susceptible to infectious diseases, have higher mortality rates, and face challenges in learning and cognitive development. The main reasons for child malnutrition in North Korea include food shortages and difficult living conditions. Additionally, the healthcare system has many limitations, preventing children from accessing essential nutritional services. The North Korean government has largely ignored this issue, leaving children to suffer from malnutrition and hunger daily. Number 10. Common use of trains in North Korea. Trains are the best means of transportation for North Koreans traveling between cities. Most North Koreans rely on public transportation because they are too poor to afford private cars or pay for taxis. Even the newer subways and trams appear outdated and worn out. North Korea also has the fewest cars per capita in the world. Buses are the most common form of transportation in North Korea, especially in major cities like Pyongyang. The bus network is relatively extensive, including modern double-decker buses introduced recently. However, old, crowded, and poorly maintained buses are a frequent issue. In North Korea, owning a car signifies wealth and power. A car costs an astronomical amount, roughly equivalent to $40,000. Even bicycles are expensive and rare in North Korea, and they have license plates like cars. For short distances, bicycles are the most widely used means of transportation in North Korea, particularly in rural areas. Additionally, walking is a familiar mode of travel for locals, especially in city centers. Number 9. North Korean cinema. An interesting aspect captured by photographer Eric Laforgue is the filmmaking activity at North Korea's largest film studio, Korean Film Studio. His work provides a rare glimpse into the film industry in this East Asian country. The reason for North Korea's rich film culture is that former leader Kim Jong Un, the father of current leader Kim Jong Un, loved movies. He reportedly had thousands of films in his personal library. 7 movie theaters were built in Pyongyang alone. On average, there is 1 movie theater for every 300 people, and films are free to watch. Moreover, all actors are carefully selected by the government. North Korean films typically focus on a talented man leading the country through dark times to prosperity. Number 8. Many men smoke. Smoking is culturally accepted and widespread in North Korea, at least among men. As of 2014, about 45% of men reportedly smoked daily, compared to only 2.5% of women, mostly older women from rural areas. Smoking is the leading cause of death in North Korea. As of 2010, 34% of men and 22% of women died from smoking-related causes, the highest rates in the world. Despite tobacco control programs in North Korea, smoking rates have declined since their peak in the 2000s. Over 3,665,000 adults and 25,000 children in North Korea are estimated to smoke daily. On average, a smoker consumes 12.4 cigarettes per day, with men smoking slightly more at 15 cigarettes per day. A lot of North Korean men smoke. They smoke everywhere, all the time. However, there is no such thing as throwing away cigarette butts indiscriminately. Sharing about the fact that many men smoke, Jong Hyun Cole, the person who guided our work in North Korea, said that military service is mandatory in North Korea. The hard times in the army are when cigarettes become their friends forever. Number 7. Heating with wood. North Korea is known for its harsh, frigid winters, some of the coldest in Asia. Therefore, preparing firewood for winter is essential. North Koreans start getting ready for winter in early autumn. In northern regions, people mainly stockpile wood, while in central regions, coal is more commonly used for heating. The coal market becomes active after August. In rural areas, almost every household has a fireplace for burning coal. In Pyongyang, people usually use the traditional ondol floor heating system. Some Pyongyang residents install wood-burning stoves in their homes. Others cover their rooms with plastic sheets to create a greenhouse effect to retain heat. Children often wake up early in winter to collect firewood. Number 6. Formal dress code. The meticulousness in attire is a prominent cultural characteristic in North Korea. Unlike many other countries where visitors can see a variety of fashion styles from modern trends to casual, youthful looks, visitors to North Korea will always be struck by the uniformity and politeness in the dress of its people. In towns, it is rare to see anyone dress sloppily or untidily. One clear example is the image of students dancing in the park in formal attire, always ready to straighten their clothes before taking a photo. Wandering around North Korea, you can still see women dressed in colorful skirts, aligned dresses, or elegantly designed tops with eye-catching sequins. This meticulousness in dress reflects respect for oneself, the community, and the nation. Dressing formally also contributes to creating a positive image of the country and its people in the eyes of international visitors. However, short skirts and revealing clothing are considered inappropriate. Women can wear pants but are not allowed to roll them up above the knees. Violations of hair dyeing or clothing regulations are subject to administrative fines or short-term imprisonment. Number 5. Propaganda Village. When mentioning North Korea, everyone thinks of strange and mysterious stories. One such story is about the village of Kijongdong, also known as the Peace Village, located in the demilitarized zone separating the two Koreas. At first glance, Kijongdong appears as a picturesque scene with brightly colored houses, schools, kindergartens, hospitals, and even a park. However, behind this perfect facade lies many secrets. Kijongdong is believed to be a Potemkin village, a fake model built to propagate the North Korean regime. The houses in Kijongdong are said to be just concrete shells with hollow insides. Windows have no glass and electric lights are always on, even during the day, to create the illusion of activity. During the day, visitors can see villagers working in the fields or sweeping the streets. However, at night, Kijongdong is completely deserted. Next to Kijongdong is a 167-meter-tall flagpole, much taller than the 99-meter flagpole in South Korea on the other side of the border. The two Koreas have often competed by flying higher flags, leading to the flagpole war in the 1980s. The main purpose of Kijongdong is believed to be to attract South Korean defectors by painting a bright picture of life in the north. However, this propaganda strategy has failed miserably. Instead of being attracted, South Koreans have become even more suspicious and strengthened their belief in their choices. Number 4. Pyongyang Arch of Triumph. Inspired by the iconic Arc de Triomphe in Paris, the Pyongyang Arch of Triumph stands as an architectural marvel, underscoring the complex narrative of North Korea. This structure is not just a replica, but surpasses its French counterpart, casting an imposing shadow on the landscape. At 60 meters high, the Pyongyang Arch of Triumph is the second tallest triumphal arch in the world. Built entirely of pure white granite in 1982, the structure exudes elegance and permanence. It symbolizes not only architectural achievement, but also embodies the indomitable spirit of Kim Il-sung, commemorating his significant role in the resistance against the Japanese from 1925 to 1945. Each of the 25,500 white granite blocks represents a day in the life of the revered leader. The Pyongyang Arch of Triumph was officially inaugurated on April 15, 1982, marking Kim Il-sung's 70th birthday. On the inauguration day, a serious security incident occurred when Kim Il-sung nearly